stop and consider what your next thought, your next word, your next action may be. So many times we spout off, we jump in, and then we live to regret it. We get to shift it. We wind up having the energy around us of, oh my goody goodness, what do I do to restore this relationship, this understanding, what's happening? People, we have 17 seconds to keep those words in our mouths, to stop that thought before it's born, to replace it, to release it, and to work beyond it. This is one of the reasons we don't really break a habit. We more become aware of it, work with it, and replace the habit. Research has found that if and when you go back into the similar circumstances that the habit is triggered by, guess what? You will automatically begin to do whatever it was you had thought you had broken the habit of, in inverted commas, comes back. Because very often habits are situational, they're environmental, and they are protection. And this is one of the reasons that when someone is wishing to give up smoking, they get to change their routine, because it is through changing our routine that we get to change what we automatically begin to do. Now, Janine, how do I do this? Awareness. Awareness is so, so key. So is stillness and contemplation. Because when we get into that groove of being still, we are able to hear and work with that small, still voice that's inside of us that is saying to us, beware, danger ahead. And this allows us to shift our energy, to shift where we are going and what we are doing to get there. For myself, this has been so, so instrumental in understanding cycles that I repeat when I'm uncomfortable. It has brought an awareness that has and is empowering me to empower my clients with this understanding and this cycle. For me, it's about knowing and owning, well, where am I responsible? What am I responsible for? And what happens should I say this? Should I do that? This has also been a gift when I am offering a client psychic support, when I am tapping into possibilities for them and where they're going, is the structure, the discipline of stopping and considering what's coming forward and which different ways there are. So I bring forward the information and then have a look at it and say, is this for me for understanding? Is this for the client for knowing, for moving forward? And it does take discipline, because many times things will just come out and they come from different directions in my head and in my awareness. And it's to say, okay, are you for the client? Are you for me? Are you for now? Are you for later? And people, everyone has this ability when things come forward. You have an understanding and a realization. The point is, are you meant to mention it in the company you're in? Or is it just for your own edification, understanding, and knowingness? Where is it for now? And when is it for later? This takes an understanding of, is it our ego speaking to us? Is it our human side speaking to us? Is it logic? And is it intuition? Is it a whisper from our soul and from source? And when we begin to differentiate, we get to understand what to use, what to say, and what the next best step is forward. When I work with psychic support, I always set the intention for what is for the highest of good of all to come forward. It's then up to my client to make the decision. Are they going to take the information and apply it? Are they going to take the information and put it on a shelf and deal with whatever happens from there on? Because life is like this. We can offer people assistance and help. We can offer people guidance, Ultimately, it is each one of us's own responsibility to take that guidance, to keep our mouths firmly shut on a response, a reaction, or what we wish to say, and at other times to bring forward what is bubbling up inside of us that comes from intuition rather than from ego, pain, and wounding. We can deal with people wound to wound. We can also deal with people from heart to heart. Sometimes we get to deal from heart to wound, and then that becomes another conversation for another day. I would love to hear what happens when you have a thought and blurt it out. What happens when you have a thought and you catch it before it exits your mouth into the world? What I've also learned to do, and I help my clients with, is where can that thought come through our heart, through compassion, through caring, through understanding, and with firmness and boundaries? Because very often when we put boundaries in place, it is helpful to ourselves. It may not immediately be helpful to the person we're with, and it may create more. In fact, most times it creates more. When we put boundaries in place from a wounded perspective, this just constricts us. When we put boundaries in place because it's aligned, it's what is to be done, and it allows for our expansion and rather than our constriction. Wow, what a difference this is. And it all begins with that stillness, at least once a day if you can, otherwise at least 3 times a week, where you go into contemplation, prayer, meditation, allowing yourself to learn to differentiate between what is your human voice, your ego voice, what is logic. Because let me tell you, many times I have to say to myself, truth, logic, truth, intuition, truth, human, and see which one pings the most and which one is definitely soul-based, intuition-based, and for the highest of good for all. I would love to hear what comes forward for you. Please come and find me on social media and let me know what has been sparked for you. Have a grand, glorious, and incredible day. Bye-bye.